When you ask asterisk, what happens when she's already with someone else? Asterisk, the first instinct is to believe that it means the end of possibility, the shutting of a door you never had the chance to walk through. We are conditioned to think of timing as everything, that if you didn't arrive first, if you weren't there when her heart was open, then you've missed your chance forever. But is that truly the case, or is too late just an illusion we tell ourselves, a story to mask the ache of disappointment? Because the truth is, love is rarely about who was there first. Love is about alignment, about two people arriving at the same place, not in geography, but in readiness. And readiness doesn't run on our schedule. Think about it. We live in a world obsessed with being first. First to the finish line, first to post, first to claim. We bring that same competitive instinct into matters of the heart, believing that whoever gets there first somehow deserves her more. But love is not a race. It is not a prize for punctuality. Being early or late is irrelevant if you're not right. She could be with someone else now, and maybe she truly loves him. If that's the case, then respect for her happiness is the only real response. But it could also be that her current relationship is simply a chapter, not the whole story. And if the two of you are meant to align, that moment won't be determined by a calendar or by who showed up first. It will be determined by a deeper readiness. This doesn't mean you wait around, passively hoping life rearranges itself in your favor. It means you stop torturing yourself with the myth that the door is locked because you missed your timing. It means you focus on being the version of yourself who is ready when, and if, the alignment comes. Think of the countless love stories where people crossed paths multiple times, wrong timing, wrong circumstances, until suddenly the timing was right. We often call that fate, but maybe it isn't fate at all. Maybe it's simply the natural rhythm of human growth, two people moving in parallel until they're ready to converge. So when she's already with someone else, the first thing that happens is you are handed a choice. You can let the illusion of too late convince you to shrink, to brood, to obsess over what could have been, or you can let it sharpen you, clarify you, remind you that love isn't about being first, it's about being true. There is a profound freedom in realizing that you don't need to manipulate circumstances, you don't need to rush or steal or chase in desperation. If she is truly meant to cross into your life in that way, it will not matter who was there first. And if she is not, then being too late is actually being right on time for your growth, your strength, your next chapter. We call it heartbreak when timing doesn't line up, but perhaps what it really is a test. Not a test of whether you can win her away from someone else, but a test of whether you believe your story is still unfolding. Too late is only real if you stop moving. Too late is only real if you surrender to despair. But if you keep living, keep growing, keep becoming, then too late simply transforms into not yet. So what happens when she's already with someone else? You learn that love cannot be rushed, cannot be claimed by who gets there first. You learn that alignment matters more than timing. You learn that the illusion of too late is just that, an illusion. And you begin to see that every so-called missed chance is just life carving out space for the right moment to finally arrive. Because the ending line is simple, it is never about being first. It is always about being ready. When you ask asterisk, what happens when she's already with someone else? Asterisk, the temptation is to let desire override everything else. To imagine that your feelings alone give you a kind of license, that your longing should count as permission. But this is where the real test begins, the test of respect. Because if love is to mean anything more than possession, it has to start with recognizing her choice, her voice, her freedom to say yes or no. Without that, what you're chasing is not love at all. It's conquest. It's easy to tell yourself, if only she knew how much I care, she would choose me. That thought can be intoxicating because it casts you as the hidden hero in her story, the one who sees what she doesn't yet realize. But pause for a moment. If she has chosen to be with someone else, then that is her truth in this moment. And if you care about her, if you truly want her happiness, then you cannot make your love conditional on her breaking what she already has. Respect, then, is not passive, it is active discipline. It is the willingness to hold your own heart in check out of reverence for hers. Does this mean you bury your feelings, pretend they don't exist? Not at all. It means you honor them by holding them cleanly, without turning them into weapons against her choices. You can carry love inside you without turning it into pressure on her. That is a harder, quieter strength than any grand declaration or dramatic attempt to intervene. Because think about it, what is the worth of love if it thrives only by disregarding someone else's commitments? What does it say about your vision of love if it requires her betrayal to validate your desire? We like to romanticize the idea of fighting for someone, of winning them away, as though love were a battlefield where victory proves worth. But real love doesn't demand casualties. Real love doesn't require that you undermine her or reduce him. Real love waits to be chosen freely, not snatched under duress. And if you think about it, wouldn't you rather be wanted without question than secured through someone else's broken promises? This is where respect sharpens into dignity. When she is already with someone else, you are handed a mirror. Will you act from desperation or will you act from strength? Respecting her choice may feel like loss in the moment, but it is in fact the preservation of your own integrity. Because if she ever does choose you in the future, you will know it came from her will, not from your interference. And if she never chooses you, then you still walk away unbroken, without the stain of having trampled someone else's trust. Respect is not weakness. Respect is the strongest response you can offer when your heart aches. It is proof that your love is not merely hunger disguised as romance. And it is proof that you understand something deeper, that love cannot flourish where freedom is denied. She has the right to be where she is, with whom she is, regardless of your longing. To honor that is to honor her humanity, not just your fantasy of her. So what happens when she's already with someone else? You find out whether your love is strong enough to honor her choice, whether your heart can hold both longing and restraint without collapsing into bitterness. You discover that respect is not the enemy of passion. It is the soil in which real passion can one day grow. And the only ending that fits is this: love without respect is not love at all. When you ask, what happens when she's already with someone else? You're not only confronting her reality, you're confronting yourself. Because beneath the surface of desire lies a harder question. Do you truly want her, or do you want the validation that comes with being chosen? This is what I call the mirror moment. When she belongs to someone else, you are forced to stand in front of that mirror and face the reflection of your own longing. And what you see there can be uncomfortable. It's tempting to romanticize your feelings as pure and selfless, to believe your love is unquestionable in its nobility. But the mirror does not flatter, it reveals, and often what it shows is that part of our hunger isn't for her smile or her soul, but for the victory of being desired back. There's a difference between craving her and craving the confirmation that you are worthy of her. When she's unavailable, that difference becomes stark, because suddenly you cannot hide behind hope of possession. You can only sit with your own motives. And this is where so many people stumble. They confuse their ego with their heart. They say, I love her, but what they mean is, I want to prove I can win her. The mirror asks, if she never chooses you, if she never leaves the person she's with, will your love still stand as love, or will it collapse into resentment? That's not an abstract question. That's the dividing line between genuine devotion and disguised selfishness. It is in this moment that growth becomes possible because the mirror forces you to question not just what you feel, but who you are when you feel it. Are you someone who can hold longing without entitlement? Are you someone who can admire her beauty without needing to possess it? Are you someone who can distinguish between love and the thrill of competition? These are not easy questions, but they are liberating ones. They free you from the illusion that desire itself is justification. They remind you that love matures not by being fulfilled, but by being refined in the fire of denial. And let's be honest, there is pain in this. The mirror does not offer comfort, it offers clarity. It may sting to realize that part of your ache is about you, not her. It may unsettle you to admit that what feels like heartbreak is sometimes wounded pride, but clarity, however sharp, is a gift. Because once you see yourself clearly, you can choose more wisely. You can decide whether to let go, to wait, or to redirect your energy toward becoming the person who is ready for love when it comes in its rightful form. The mirror moment is less about her and more about you. She becomes the catalyst, the spark that forces you to wrestle with yourself. And in that wrestling, you begin to strip away illusions. You stop telling yourself that your desire makes you noble. You stop pretending that timing is the only barrier. You begin to see that the greatest obstacle to love is often not her unavailability, but your own misunderstanding of what you truly seek. So when she's already with someone else, what happens? You look into the mirror and you see your heart for what it is. You confront whether you are drawn by love or by ego. You discover whether your longing is about her or about you. And if you're brave enough to keep looking, to let the mirror do its work, you walk away with something priceless, a clearer sense of self, and the strength to love without illusion. Because the only ending that matters here is this: the mirror never lies. It only waits for you to face it. When you ask asterisk, what happens when she's already with someone else? Asterisk, you might think the answer is simple. Nothing happens, the story ends, you walk away empty-handed. But that's not the full truth, because when she is unavailable, the moment becomes less about what you can't have and more about what you can become. This is where desire stops being a transaction, something to gain or lose, and starts becoming transformation. You discover that the heartache itself is not just an obstacle, but a forge. We are taught to think of unfulfilled love as wasted energy, as if every ounce of feeling poured into someone who doesn't choose you is a loss. But in reality, that energy is not wasted. It's raw material. It's fuel that can either burn you down or refine you. The choice lies in what you do with it. Do you let the disappointment turn you bitter, dragging resentment behind you like a shadow? Or do you allow it to break you open, to reveal what you most deeply value, to sharpen your vision of the kind of love you truly want? Transformation begins with the acceptance that not every desire is meant to be fulfilled, and that does not make the desire meaningless. It makes it instructive. Her being with someone else might be life's way of redirecting you, of teaching you that love cannot be forced into existence just because you feel it strongly. Instead of asking asterisk, why not me? Asterisk, you begin to ask asterisk, what does this longing reveal about me? Asterisk, that's the pivot. That's where the pain becomes a teacher, and what it often reveals is that you are capable of depth you didn't know you had. To love someone unattainable stretches the heart beyond its comfort zone. It teaches patience, humility, and the ability to hold beauty without possession. It shows you that your worth is not measured by whether she returns your feelings. It reminds you that your story is larger than this single chapter. That shift from transaction to transformation is what protects you from despair. Think of it this way. If love were only about getting what you want, it would be shallow. It would be commerce, a trade of affection for attention. But when love demands that you grow instead of grasp, when it asks you to respect her choice and still find strength in yourself, it becomes something greater. It becomes a force that shapes you into a fuller, wiser human being. And the irony is this: the very experience of not being chosen can prepare you to be the kind of person who is ready when the right choice finally comes along. None of this removes the ache. The heart will still bruise, the nights will still be heavy, the what-ifs will still whisper. Transformation does not erase longing, it dignifies it. It says, this hurt matters, but it will not be wasted. It takes the sting of rejection and turns it into a deeper self-awareness, a kind of inner compass pointing you toward the life you are meant to build. So when she's already with someone else, what happens? You do not collapse, you do not vanish, you transform. You allow your love to become less about possession and more about preparation. You understand that this moment is not the end of your story, but part of your becoming. And in time, that becoming is what makes you strong enough, wise enough, and ready enough for the love that is truly yours. Because the ending is simple. The moment she is with someone else is not where your life stops, it's where your transformation begins.